You're listening to the IMT Show with Mike Sims. Now here is your host.
I didn't think I had the answers. I had a theory that maybe could lead someone to the answers. And that's all you can ever hope for. You know, if you think that you ultimately have the answer to everything, then you have nothing else to learn. And I certainly didn't believe that. I just had a theory. But I felt maybe that I needed to write a book about it. It seemed to be an interested subject of a lot of people, especially who were coming to the classes. And I mentioned it to my then father-in-law, and his response, he didn't have a lot of respect for me. He was, especially my theories about things. He was one of the people that were opposed to my beliefs. And his response was, "Who would buy a book from you?" You know, and I obviously responded, "Well, obviously not you." So, weeks later, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have anything really the tools to really put it together that I needed. And I was over at his house having supper, and he sarcastically asked me, you know, "How's your book come along?" You know, and I said, you know, if somebody were to sponsor me and buy me a computer to where I could write this book, I would let them have all the royalties to it. I don't care. I think it's just an important theory that needs to be out there. And I don't care if I made any money off of it at all. Just, you know, they could have all the royalties. His response was, "Well, let's talk about this." So what you're saying is that if I bought you a computer, pay for the publishing, I could have all the royalties. And I was astonished that he actually was proposing this business venture with me. And I looked at him and I said, "You would just be wasting your money because nobody's going to buy a book from me, right?" So that's the kind of thing that early on that discouraged me. I had a lot of life events that in that marriage and in that time of my life that it seemed like that whole decade was just a blur. That it just, I don't know what happened. I don't know where my life was at that time. It was very hard, but I didn't even read a lot. You know, was even writing my short stories during that time. I was too preoccupied with taking care of the person I was with and trying to survive. So, and it was also a very difficult time financially and job wise because I didn't have the education. I didn't go to college, so I didn't have. I missed out on some tremendous opportunities. There was like I mentioned before, I had worked as a summer job in my 8th grade year, putting $10,000 computers together, copying the software operating system for each one of them, and putting the manuals together, and then shipping them to the clients. Actually, heck of a summer job, and then ordering supplies and taking out the trash and other menial things, but a lot of technical things. And I learned a lot. I even learned basic programming. So I I felt like when I was in high school, when I went to Lago Vista was very preparatory for college. It seemed like everybody was going to college. When I got to New Caney, it was not so much. It it was there wasn't a lot of encouragement about college there, and I was kind of a know-it-all punk at that age anyway. Felt like I was trying to sell multi-level marketing stuff and Neolife and whatever else, trying to be an entrepreneur. So I just knew I was going to be successful when I came out. Life has a way of educating you the other way. But I did have a taste of success when I was 16 with my multi-level marketing, which kind of ruined me, I guess, for college, because I felt like I could duplicate that almost success again. But when I moved back to Austin and married my first wife, I went on job interviews trying to get some kind of computerized job. And I submitted to a small software company. They wanted a tech support guy. I actually got the interview, and they interviewed me and one other guy. The executive vice president of that software lab was one of the partner owners of the company that I worked for when I was in 8th grade, and he recognized my name. We had a good interview. They laid out the benefits and they laid out the wage, and I tried to act like it was expected and normal, but it was much more money than I ever dreamed I could make at the time. I was used to making $285 an hour as a security guard. So this was quite a bit of money that they were talking about. And it would be the number 2 tech support guy in this company. It was a mom and pop software company that was possibly being merged to a larger company, but it was specialized software. The VP told me that, apologized to me and said that he really wanted to hire me because he remembered me that in that summer job and how gifted I was in computers, but he couldn't justify giving me the job over a college student. If I'd had a college degree, he would have given me the job, no problem. And so not having that education cost me that opportunity. And I was at the right age. I would have had a degree by then. That little company ended up becoming part of what later became No-Fail. The stock options and being the number 2 tech support guy in that company that merged with them would have been a tremendous opportunity in life and would have made me financially and otherwise. So it says a lot about preparedness meets opportunity, that if you're not prepared when the opportunities come, and they do come, you're going to miss them. You got to be ready. You got to have your ducks in order. And that's true with book publishing and everything else. You have to know as much as you can and know what you're doing to get to be ready when the opportunity happens. And I hope that I'm ready. I keep learning. I keep discovering new things and new ideas about things, to what to do and how to do things differently. But and networking with people to get ideas from them, and having a team. So we'll see where the journey gets us. And that's what this podcast is going to do, is I'm going to take you on that journey. And we'll talk about things that have happened in my life in more detail, and what it all means and what it might mean to you, we'll venture and see what your comments are, and we'll do more interviews and see what happens. After after my divorce and I moved back to Houston, I ended up looking for work, and I had a limited amount of money from selling my computer. I knew I needed to get a proper resume made. So I tried to find a good job somewhere. And so I went to a resume service. And while I was waiting for my appointment, I visited this cigar shop. And the cigar shop owner was asking me, doing a small talk, very friendly guy. I said, well, I'm trying to find a computer job, and I've got an appointment with a resume guy upstairs. And he said, oh yeah, he's very good and everything. He says, if you want a computer job, you ought to talk to these guys with this company called Dynasty. It's a software company, and they come and buy cigars from me all the time. And I was like, I'm half that, thinking about it, and saying, well, thank you, and yada yada yada. So I get my resume done, and I spend my money on getting a bunch of resumes made, and I mail them out, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them all over Houston, and not a response. Not one. So I had one left. So I looked up Dynasty in the phone book and got the address, and hand wrote a cover letter saying that this guy at the cigar shop recommended your company to me, and so here's my resume. And I got a call from him. And the executive vice president was interviewing me and on the phone, and he was interviewing me for a tech support position, but the questions technology he was telling me about was all software program related, and I was not a programmer. I worked on hardware and installing things, and mostly in theoretical because I was in tech support, so it's not really hands-on. And he realized real quick, he says, you really don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to object-oriented code generation, do you? And I was like, no, sir, I'm sorry. And he said, well, we could use an IT person to take care of the hardware and the stuff around you. That seems to be more what you're in line with. Well, how about you come in and do a physical interview? And so I did, and I got the job. I was there for 9 years through ups and downs, and it was an interesting journey in itself. I got thrown into the deep end of the ocean, and I had to learn to swim, because basically they walked me into a server room that had Macs, OS2s, Tandems, Novell servers, SGI boxes, all different flavors of Unix machines. They had just about everything except for Linux, because they didn't like Linux because it was open source and their software was multi-million-dollar software. And I said, support it. So, okay. I had once installed a Novell server. I was fairly familiar with Windows, but I learned it, and I learned it well. And I did take care of that company for 9 years. And I realized that if you apply yourself, you could do just about any job. If you're given 6 months to learn it, you could do almost anything if you apply yourself. And I did. So I learned a great deal, and I was much more capable of handling things in later jobs.
Hey, Mike Sims, this is Connor Trenier, also known as Commander Charles Trip Tucker III on Star Trek Enterprise, as well as Michael Kenmore from Stargate Atlantis. Listen, I really want to congratulate you on your #1 best-selling book, Southern Cross, man. I can't believe that. I always admire writers so much, and it can be a lonely profession, but you seem to be doing all right. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing Vicky, the series of books you've written, on the screen soon. I just want to throw it out there. I don't know you, but I'm awfully proud of you, and I feel like I do know you a little bit now. Anyway, congrats, Mike. Congrats. Numero uno. Bestseller. Good on you. Take care, man. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the IMT show with Mike Sims. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The IMT show is an opinion show and not to be taken as serious personal, legal, tax or financial advice. It is meant as entertainment only. IMT show, Mazarov or Mike Sims is not responsible for ad content. For more information on show schedules and content, visit www.mazarov.net/IMT.